must be the one who got me out of the red with the Trade Authority. Can't say I don't appreciate it, but I doubt you came all this way just to do me a favor. Now you want to explain to me why you're going around harassing nefarious old men by wiping away their hard-earned debts? Tissue sample? You came all the way down here for that? Must be some damn important cells. You want to tell me what I'm about to be staring at? A fast-growing Terrormorph. That is concerning. Who exactly told you to bring this to me? Hadrian. She gave you this? If she made you come all the way for this... Let's get inside. I need to see these cells.
Gonna ask you to not touch anything. Got some projects in the works down here, and I wasn't expecting guests. Oh, and Lou mentioned how you took care of the debt. Can't say I'm thrilled the Trade Authority got their mitts on the research, but I guess that's the price you pay not to live in a cave the rest of your days. All queued up. Let's gaze into this abyss, shall we? All right, just get those cellular markers tagged. Wait, where are the markers? This can't be right. This sample, it's Londinian. I'll need to get this all in a slate. Hadrian really gave you this sample. You're not lying to me? Because if you told me this was a hoax, and it'd be the best damn fake I've ever seen, I'd be mad and very, very relieved. Can't just humor an old man, huh? This sample, it's got all the indicators of the worst Terrormorph attack in human history. I presume you've heard of Londinian. It was. An entire city wiped off the map. The swarms were so bad, they had to blow the spaceport and seal the place off from the galaxy at large. Not a lot of samples made it off the world from the time of the attack, but the ones that did, well, they look just like this one. I didn't detect any of the telltale signatures this specimen ever sat on a ship while it was alive, either. I don't think it was transported to Talseti. This specimen, it grew there, faster than any Terrormorph should. Which means, if we're about to start a new era in human-Terrormorph relations, where big, sudden Londinian-style attacks can happen outside Londinian, that's not gonna end well for humanity.
It would be the end of us as a species.
So, you lugged this bad omen all the way here. You want to tell me what your plans are for it now? Because until now, the Terrormorphs that wiped out Londinian had the good sense to stay put. What happened there? It was a tragedy, but at least it was contained. So to find evidence for a similar attack on a different world, well, we don't have enough information to know precisely what this means. But I doubt it's good. So I'd love to know what it is you're planning from here. The circle, huh? Could use a drink about now. Here, faster we take the lift to the surface. Not supposed to use it, but given the circumstances, I'm inclined to just ask forgiveness. Let's get going.
can't even imagine to tell you the number of inhospitable worlds like these that I've visited.
Captain, do you require my assistance?
Do you need anything? Your clothes? Your mirror shine.
Orbital insertion completed.
Careful near the railings on the upper level.
Is that really her? Hadrian.
Percival. My God, look at you. You're an old man now.
You're no hassling yourself anymore, Major. Our friend here showed me your sample. Suffice it to say,
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back.
The Red Devils aren't exactly your average bar crowd. You can see it in their eyes. We
Lou gave me
don't
the
belong
abridged
here.
version of what went down. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for taking care of all that.
makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just glad you both came through it intact. So, were you two able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure. So tell me you've got some kind of plan for that workup.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terrormorph data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives? Doesn't that mean we'd be dealing with the Cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Varun somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the Cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on two conditions. One, they want to see this analysis you two have procured. And two, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti. With both of us. Well, that's about the best news I've had all day. But before you commit, I want to make sure you know the whole story. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists, ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. And the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done. Oh, well, that means a lot. It's not something I'm exactly proud of. But it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terrormorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the Colony War. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it. I mean, I hope they will, but accessing the archives, it's not 100% up to them. They'll also need the consent of the other signatories of the Colony War Armistice, the Freestar Collective and House Varun, in order to unlock it.
Since neither group is exactly on great terms with the UC at the moment, for various reasons.
Exactly. It's going to mean negotiations and deals and plenty of diplomatic legwork to see this through. But I don't see a better option to solving what's going on here. So it's gonna be up to us to get them on board. All right. I'm gonna go get this work up into the cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
Long time since I've had to use. Sol system doesn't get a lot of traffic.
My buddy Mitch keeps asking me if I can help him out with something, but I just don't have the time.
Hello. I am satisfied to see that you survived your most recent sleep cycle.
We know when you're ready to launch.
What can I do for you, Captain?
You know the drill, Vasco. Protocol Indigo means no deviations, no distractions, no dalliances, in short, no fun. Unless, as strictly defined by Sarah, said deviations, distractions, and dalliances are completely necessary in getting this fine vessel, the Discovery-class Starship Frontier, back home in one piece. I guess I'm still technically borrowing it from Constellation, even if I have no intention of actually giving it back.
It really doesn't matter what fancy machine you use to brew coffee. It's all about the bean. Being part of your crew is just the best.
looks peaceful from up here, doesn't it? Navigational feedback checks out. We're in the right place.
This is United Colonies Space. Maintain current course while we scan for contraband. Alright, we're done. You're cleared to land at New Atlantis.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him EYEWITNESS. Woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked. I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young, training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective, and UC. Military, and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the Colony War to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terrormorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terrormorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of Guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But EYEWITNESS, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue.
Ah, Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terrormorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor. All knowledge related to the technologies banned by the UC and the Freestar Collective after the Colony War resides in the archives, including the aforementioned Terrormorph data you and Hadrian are after. I want to know what you, someone with less direct involvement in the Armistice, sees as the purpose behind granting said access. That is something to consider, though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terrormorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the Chief Diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terrormorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
Agreed. We collect as much data as we can, then, when cooler heads prevail, we make an informed decision.
Yes, given what we've heard, I find myself in agreement, Captain.
No, the Captain is precisely right. We could hardly be expected to make a galaxy-affecting decision on such scant evidence.
Yes, a fair assessment, Chief Diplomat. So then, while the data you two have presented is compelling, I think we can safely say it's insufficient for the level of action you've requested. Perhaps once we can recognize that.
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terrormorphs.
Terrormorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
They're here, now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
That's the EM rifle! Grab it!
That's it!
Now!
Now hit him with everything! Thing you've got!
Stop! We're trying to help you! I'm on a roll! This one's down! And stay down!
thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terrormorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terrormorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need. I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with Terrormorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here, but we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. We're not afraid, but we'll stay here and hold the line if that's what you want. You're the experts. Your call. We're on the line.
Have anything valuable? It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. The universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terrormorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
We're counting on you,
Captain? Hadrian?
Let my people
It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terrormorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, after today's events, the Cabinet has decided to revisit its previous decision. We will be supporting your collection of the Terrormorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed, first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
The next time Terrormorphs rear their ugly heads,
I'm gonna go
you
check
see
in
what's
with
going to be ready.
Start getting the plan together.
Things we do here is all of humanity. Sidonia is an industrial town. The people there tend to be concise. Talk to you later.
Yes, what?
can't be. Yes. Yes, sir. Consider it done. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude.
I was also told the President wants us to get you into the Armistice archives ASAP. So, we've got no time to waste. You know what the archives are, correct? Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories: UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. No. Each is a strip of several million random numbers generated on the fly based on biometric keys kept by each of the ambassadors on their person at all times. They're impossible to create without those keys, and those keys stay with the ambassadors, meaning we're accessing nothing if we can't get them on our side.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Report suggests there's a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for intel. Maybe even convince to work with you.
Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Radcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise. Official line is that you're to negotiate with her. Use your charm and personal narrative to sway her to our cause. My suggestion is to access the listening device in her quarters to get leverage on her and don't get caught doing it. She's also got a staff member that might be more sympathetic to helping us. Do with that information what you will. Captain, would you like to finish your briefing on the ambassadors? Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky, but that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice.
It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out. The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador.
I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind.
Be smart out there, Captain.
Excuse me. Keeping the skies safe out there?
You are a visitor? You'll find the ambassador in her office. Go on through.
Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, but it seems like only yesterday.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or conference room. That means you.
I'm going to be up front with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. But you lead, and I'll follow.
As in more than one? All that security, and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants Terrormorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance, one, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. You know that for sure. That is interesting. It's a job I take very seriously. It's why I'm even entertaining what you're suggesting right now. The cost of being wrong is a high one. It's possible I might be letting my history cloud my judgment. Possibly. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terrormorphs. The monitors will make sure of it. You go in once, you get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate the necessary oversights. Two unlikely allies, I guess.
what I expected at all. It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy. This before. Characters weren't blocking our way.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss. Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? I take it you didn't have such an experience where you were then, hmm? Yes, the entire embassy was thrown into lockdown, trapping me in my quarters, disabling the Venom tree's filters, and arming the defenses. A disconcerting experience, to say the least. Was the rest of the city spared? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door, hmm? And the broadcast spoke of terrormorphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terrormorphs, presumably, hmm? Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy. With little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
As the chair of Constellation, I take personal responsibility in vouching for this man's integrity. He'll keep his word.
Well then, I shall not fear. Please, follow me. Let's hope it still works. And there. let it be used for good.
All of our signature dishes are unique. Yes, of course. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Mixed feelings about it. There's nothing
Nothing that ensures personal safety and security the way a firearm can. Only the finest collection of armaments in the settled systems.
Last minute check. Breath? Check. Shower? Hair? Check and double check.
Need something but don't have a lot of time? That's why I'm here. CJ's is always open. No matter what you need, when you need it, I'm here. Nice and steady. Just the way I like it. I've got a good location, plenty of foot traffic, and a ton of people who are in a hurry and need to make a quick stop for the essentials. Things keep going this way, I'm gonna start opening franchises all over the settled systems. You kidding me? Nowhere else like it in the settled systems. First time I came here as a kid, I knew I was gonna come back and make my mark on this city. Nowhere I'd rather be. And now that I've got this place up and running, it's all coming together. Yeah, let's get you settled. Thanks for stopping in. I can always use the business.
You see that scientist out in front of mast? Staring at trees, sounds upset. Whatever it is, it can't be that bad, right?